Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Crypto Observer podcast. This is our first episode.
It's great to be here. Getting started. Thought that we'd attempt to try something new. So we are recording a podcast, just going over our views of the cryptocurrencies, current market, what we think could potentially happen. We're going to be asking some questions that we have ourselves, and we hope that you as listeners can help us build a community and answer some of those questions, as well as ask some of your own questions.
So I feel like it's important to get to know us a little bit. My name is Mendy Shakti, and I'm fairly new to the crypto community. Just recently gotten into investing and learning more about the different altcoins and their roles that they play in the crypto market, and watching those trends kind of rise and fall has been really interesting. And my interest was generated from Christian.
And I originally got into cryptocurrency after the big spike in 2017. Seeing Bitcoin hit 20,000, and that kind of triggered for me the realization that it was a beneficial opportunity. So I wanted to get invested. Started with about $10, $20 here and there, and then eventually Mendy and her family helped me invest a larger sum of money. So we're working with that right now, trying to perfect our tactics and actually learn this market.
So yeah, that's a really good introduction. I feel like one of my first questions was, what sparked your initial interest in the cryptocurrency, Christian? As far as you said that in 2017 the spike there, what happened?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what caused the spike.
Did somebody refer you to be interested in, or was your own general interest?
I think I was just kind of looking at new opportunities, seeing what's going on in the digital era, and came across the cryptocurrencies. And so watched them for a little bit and then saw Bitcoin shoot up. Once Bitcoin shot up, I was like, okay, if I'd had some money in that, that would have been a nice little payoff.
And what was it at then?
I think when I first saw it was maybe at 8,000-9,000, and then shot up to 20,000 in a few months.
Wow, yeah. That would definitely spark the interest.
Yeah, it did. It did for sure. And I looked back, did some research, looked back at like 2015, 2014, and it was low, $200, $100 for Bitcoin. It's crazy to see in a couple years that shoot up. Doesn't really happen with any other kind of investment.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of money being made every day with people who invest small amounts in a cryptocurrency that has more potential than what everyone else is recognizing. So even a $10 increase could get you quite a gain if you were, investing at 40 cents initially.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that caught my attention too. So to me, it's a comparison on penny stocks. It's kind of a comparison to penny stocks.
Right.
Whereas you get in on something that's just getting started, or the price is dipped, it's really low, 20 cents, less than a penny even sometimes, and you can buy thousands of those coins.
Right.
And then the value it becomes exponential after that as the price starts to go up. I'm kind of curious, beyond what we've shared and how that's driven your interest, what's keeping you interested in cryptocurrency?
I think that there's attention that is coming to it right now because there is a need for an alternative type of currency. There's a demand for it from the people. So as time goes on and we see the instability of the dollar, even as it stands as a stable coin, right? We're supposed to acknowledge it as a stable. There are still a lot of downfalls.
Yeah, stable currency.
Still a lot of negative aspects to only having one type of currency. So whenever I was introduced to the idea of cryptocurrencies and then all these other altcoins, which have a different demand because they're supplying different things, that's what really sparked and continued my interest in it, in recognizing the benefits in the future. It's almost like we're at the pinnacle, like, starting point, of watching a humongous project grow to change.
I think that's exactly where we are. Are you familiar with Ethereum? The way that Ethereum works?
Vaguely.
So that platform works off of what's considered smart contracts, which essentially just is almost a level down from artificial intelligence. So it allows these computers to interact. It allows the blockchain to interact without too much human interaction. And that's allowed for people to create tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. So now Ethereum itself is kind of giving life to these other cryptocurrencies under it.
Yeah.
So instead of currencies, I guess they'd be considered more so tokens.
Right.
And that's allowed for kind of a market. We've talked about that a little bit, like how it allows for you to pretty much turn any industry into a token.
Right. Any service that you offer can in some way be valued as a currency.
Yeah. I think that's going to be one of the things that really takes it into the future. It really makes the cryptocurrencies kind of blow up. When you think about somebody selling their house and taking that house, and instead of having to go around, get a real estate agent, have people come look at the house, you can find somebody that's in China, for instance, and they want to buy your property. They don't even have to see it. They can just purchase the value of that token. You have your house value put into a token, and they can just purchase the token.
Right.
And the transaction's completed. You don't really need any middlemen.
Right. It takes the banks out of the equation, which is really what we, the people, are wanting right now. Where there's so much constraint put on us as far as who we can transfer our money to over state lines, over borders, essentially out of the country, is a real issue with exchanging currency. So that this idea that has kind of grown and developed in the United States is really working to tie together like the rest of the world when it comes to their services that they want to offer.
I think it does have the potential to do that. Kind of talking about control, the amount of control that the government has over currency. We could kind of switch to another topic that's pretty relevant right now, the Trump trade war.
Right.
So Trump's kind of attacking China. It seems like China is also attacking the U.S., and they're at a standstill.
Right, as far as trading.
Mm-hmm.
They don't... what I was reading also is that China has really been focusing more of its ideas towards developing its own cryptocurrency while utilizing Bitcoin in order to get around the tariffs and everything that Trump has put on their trade market.
I was also reading, too, that what China has actually done in the past, and this is becoming a trend, but they have gone as far as, let's say, Facebook, right? So there's a thing called the Great Firewall of China, where they've developed a computer system that pretty much blocks out a lot of the Western technologies and internet updates. So they developed their own system. So it's very centralized. So for Facebook, for instance, they go in, they block Facebook or a lot of the features for their country. Meanwhile, they develop a new technology that's almost exactly like Facebook, and they release that to the public.
Right.
So, and it's kind of to keep them separate from this Western culture as they become or attempt to become the new financial power, central power
Evolving.
Of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that we're seeing the same thing happen with cryptocurrency. They just covertly, not even covertly, they make mandates and regulations that block out the new advancements. Like Bitcoin, for instance. They don't really want people to utilize Bitcoin. But then in the background, they're creating their own cryptocurrency.
Right.
Based off the same exact logic and algorithms.
Using the same platform, just having more control over what they want the people to have access to. And not tying it together with our culture in a way, not merging societies. It's definitely the opposite of integration.
I think because America, on one hand, represents democracy, and you can see that even in the cryptocurrency market. So in America, or even in other places in the world, we're seeing all these different initiatives, all these different people make cryptocurrencies. There's so many different coins coming out.
Right.
Whereas in China, they want it to be more centralized. So there's not that democracy aspect. They're going to create one coin.
Right.
And they're going to try to make that coin be Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, all that, just so that it is centralized and it keeps the people reliant on that government system.
Right.
And I think that kind of defeats the purpose of cryptocurrency, don't you?
I'm not sure it defeats the purpose so much as it takes a side branch of possibility. It's almost as if China's saying, right, now we're going to take your ball and put it back in your court. We're going to make our own ball. We're going to play with it in our court, and we don't want you hitting your ball over in our court. We don't want your currency
Just making up your own rules
in
and
our
everything.
market because it bounces around way too crazy. Like, we have stipulations and standards that we put on our ring that we play within, and we don't want your currency to be in any way integrated.
I feel like that's what they're attempting to do. I think
it'll be more of a struggle than they're realizing whenever it comes to any type of digital currency, because they won't be able to put a cap on what people are spending their other altcoins on.
I also think it'd be hard to put a cap on what people are investing in, even if they ban a currency, for instance. Let's say America tried to ban Bitcoin. There's still hackers. There's still the deep web. There's still going to be people that, regardless of what the restrictions are, get access to Bitcoin or get access to cryptocurrency and utilize it. And the same thing is happening in China, and it'll continue to happen all over the world. There's always going to be that underground. And I think because of that and how readily available cryptocurrency already is to the world, I don't see it going anywhere. I think it's going to be a staple in society eventually.
Right.
And to see what China does is interesting, but I don't think it's going to matter too much in the long run.
Right. Especially not since the cryptocurrency game will still continue here and evolve on its own. We might not even get the full insight as to what they're doing with that, the supply and demand of their cryptocurrencies in other countries, like the Marshall Islands. We were kind of reviewing that a little bit, that they're developing their own type of cryptocurrency to put in place alongside the US dollar, but the cryptos are to be distributed more towards sustainability and helping to support whatever damages have been done to the climate.
You know, that makes me think of how we see in the media now that there's so much speculation. Everybody's kind of telling us to shift away from cryptocurrency. Don't invest. It's not stable. It's too volatile. It's going to get banned by the government. But then you see other countries, these little tiny countries, Marshall Islands, or huge countries like China, investing in their own cryptocurrency. And to me, that's a sign that these big wigs or whoever's really pulling the strings behind these larger organizations, these countries, they know the power of the cryptocurrency.
Right.
And they know that it is going to change the way we do things.
Right.
And it's going to be something that we stick with in the future.
Right. Because in a lot of ways, it's releasing the grasp from their power. So that's probably why they don't endorse it. There's a lot of negative talk about it being unstable. It's too volatile. Don't invest in it because you should be scared of it. And then you see 17, 18-year-old kids who are millionaires because they've invested tiny amounts, and you recognize that the risk is low. The risk is very low. It's mostly just about educating yourself on the new coins, why they have any kind of demand, and then what their potential supply will reach.
Well, I think people should pay attention to, and this is kind of stepping even outside the bounds of cryptocurrency, but what I think people should pay attention to is what we're being sold through the media.
Right.
And it's funny that cryptocurrency is an investment vehicle. It is something that you can potentially put your money in and make triple the amount you put in.
Right.
Return on investment. But instead of marketing that idea to us, they're marketing Gucci and Louis Vuitton, and fancy sunglasses and clothes. And you can't invest in that. That's not going to gain any value the longer you hold on to it.
Right.
So it's funny to me to see all the speculation and people really trying to shift us away from this market. And if people pay attention to what they're being sold, I think you'll realize that there is kind of a plot to keep you stagnant, keep you in the idea of you need these materialistic items, you need all this stuff to be happy.
Right.
When really, if you stop spending that money on those excess things, and invest in something, especially a cryptocurrency, you could potentially be at a place where you can afford a luxury life without going into a financial deficit.
Right.
But anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. You know, that's my spiel.
No, that was good. I feel like the insight in from our perspective about just where we come from is important. I do have another question for you that I wrote down here. Was which altcoins do you think will be the most profitable in 2020? If you had to make just a guesstimation.
Okay, well, I actually just so happen to have a list of my top 5 cryptocurrencies that I'm watching, and I think within the next 6 months to a year, we'll see some gains on, some pretty incredible gains. First one's going to be Litecoin. So Litecoin I see as a counterpart to Bitcoin.
Right.
If we were looking at the American society, you know, maybe 100 years ago, we were dealing with commodities such as silver and gold, and I see Litecoin and Bitcoin really taking the place of those commodities.
Right.
And the value of them would be similar. So, you know, Bitcoin, for me, it's $10,000 a coin typically, and it's a little harder to get into with smaller amounts of money. Litecoin, however, we're seeing it jump from, you know, $60 to $100 a coin.
Right.
And I think that's exactly where Bitcoin was before it started shooting up into these higher, just 5 digits, you know. Now, other than those 2 heavy hitters, I think my next favorite would be XRP.
Okay.
XRP is looking, it's not looking great on graphs. It's not looking good when you look at the market. But I think when you read the white paper, you read up on it, do some research, XRP has a lot of potential. And that is the Ripple network. So they've partnered with MoneyGram, and I think that drove the price up a bit, and that's why we were seeing like 40 cents. And that's when I bought in, right? So I bought in at 40 cents. The price is now down to like 26 cents. But I think that was kind of the hype around them signing up with MoneyGram. So keeping that in mind, as they continue to create more contracts with these money transfers, I think potentially we'll see XRP at a value, you know, close to Bitcoin, like $10,000 or so.
Right.
It definitely has the potential to go there. They're offering decentralized currency to centralized organizations. So to banks and to, I would say banks and financial institutions. They've got more money than majority of the consumer market put together, you know, the whole thing. So, yeah, obviously XRP is going to be something to watch out for. XLM, that's Stellar Lumens, and they've also dipped down quite a bit. I think now they may even be less than a cent per coin.
Right.
However, they offer the potential to tokenize essentially any asset, and that's something we should be watching out for. So as we move closer and closer to the critical point of cryptocurrency, what people are really going to be looking for is, how can I sell my laptop as a coin? You know, there's a guy in Arkansas, I can't get there, but he wants my RAM space or something, and he can access it digitally. I just need to put this laptop in a storage room, keep it there. He's going to be using it.
Right.
He just wants to pay me for it. How can I convert that into a coin and just complete this transaction?
Right, just utilizing the space as the token.
Yeah, and just monetizing the value of that space.
Right, and
rather than
anything can be tokenized at that point.
And that's what I think we're going to see happen eventually. And XLM says that they have the potential to do that, so that should be a pretty valuable coin later down the road. You can also learn about XLM and other cryptocurrencies at Coinbase.com. And if you don't have a Coinbase account, you can sign up. We'll actually leave a link in our description to connect you to Coinbase and help you get that account started. Once you have a Coinbase account, you can also use the link in the description to go to Coinbase Earn. And there are several cryptocurrencies available for you to research, and for each video you watch, you'll be rewarded in that cryptocurrency. So I do have one more. Another cryptocurrency I'm watching is Monero. And Monero is not available on Coinbase, which is what I primarily use to trade. However, I have seen it fluctuate from as low as $60 to $150. And I think that fluctuation attracts me a bit, just how volatile it is. I love
Right.
things I can get into with a paycheck at the end of the week, and then 2 weeks later, I might see double the amount of money in my portfolio.
Yeah.
So what are you looking out for? What kind of coins are you watching right now?
Most of the ones that you mentioned, I feel like most of my attention previously has been on Litecoin, just with the halving and investing in it and watching what it does and kind of getting the aspects of day trading, so you recognize like within the amount of time that you have in a day that it can go up and then you can sell or trade at that point
Just that quick.
and then watch it go back down and buy back in. That's been really interesting for me. One of the first things that we started talking about in the crypto space was XYO, and I'm sure some of you may be aware of the whole platform that they have.
Good old XYO.
Yeah.
Scott Shepard.
Yeah, Scott Shepard, who actually had a podcast for a little while that we were interested in listening to, but he didn't continue with that. So we would definitely be interested in hearing more episodes from that podcast.
Yeah, wherever you are, Scott,
Yeah,
Ari,
Scott
and the German
Ari,
guy.
And so we typically follow any of the newer up and coming cryptos that we have access to or that we've researched, and that was one that we got pretty excited about, and then kind of maybe lost interest in whenever we recognized that potentially, well, the potential for the crypto was there, but not necessarily the path to it.
Yeah, maybe the team might not necessarily be as focused on making this a successful cryptocurrency as making it a successful marketing opportunity.
Right. And so if you're not too familiar with it, the XYO is a token, and it's essentially they track your data in every location with these tiny little Sentinel Bluetooth actual physical pieces of plastic that you buy from the XYO company, and they ship them to you.
And they essentially do geo-mining. They geo-mine your data.
They geo-mine your data wherever you are. So the more of them you have, they can kind of interact with each other and give back more information. And the whole idea of this to us was really cool, especially when we seen that there was an app for it, the Coin app.
Yep, which allows you to mine the XYO token.
Right, and we had gotten to a point where we had mined a couple thousand of these XYO tokens, but it's still
You have to mine at least 10,000 to even cash out your XYO tokens. Mm-hmm. And even at the moment, they're worth less than a penny. So you'd have to have over 100,000 to really even have a few dollars.
Right. So within that, I've seen a lot of benefits for potentially exchanging currency from long distances away by utilizing a map type of platform where you could drop almost like a scavenger hunt. You could drop geo drops of a certain amount of the tokens, and
or tags, some kind of geological tag.
Right, so people could stumble upon them and find them randomly, or you could send them to people that you have the email address. You can send them that way, or you can drop them and they can see that they're next to you. Say if Christian had his phone on and I did a geo drop, he could pick it up immediately and get that amount. So I do feel like in the long run, using that platform, it was very Pokemon Go in a way, familiar kind of with me.
Like a game. I guess they gamified.
It made it fun, but from what we seen after the time of spending, what we did, that the potential's still there, but ultimately there's not a lot of financial rewards to be made there yet.
Right. So one of the drawbacks with XYO is that they have this great technology, and when we say it mines your data, we don't mean your personal data. It mines geographical data. So it just takes in the terrain or the elevation around you, distance.
Potentially the temperature as well.
yeah, all this information in regards to your location, and they would essentially build a database of this information and then have to sell it to the highest bidder, right? But there are no bidders. That's the problem. So no one really wants the information right now. But like Mendy was saying, it could be beneficial for even if you had a scavenger hunt game or Pokemon Go, for instance, and there was some kind of currency you wanted to trade between players, you could actually just drop that on their location. You can skip an ATM, you can skip a money market, MoneyGram, any kind of transfer, and just send it straight to their location via your phone.
Right.
And I think that potential is there, but again, without a buyer for that technology, without someone who's going to use the geographical data and implement some kind of system, it's not really going to drive the price up. Right now, we just have a game to mine coins.
And it is fun to sit around and think about the potential applications of those services. For instance, I think we even read an article maybe about how XYO, and they were going to use the Sentinels to track packages whenever they ship them from Amazon or the Postal Service. So whenever you have a box that's taken off of your front porch, you can see if it's
stolen?
Right, you can see if it's actually been delivered and been to your front porch and then stolen. You can kind of track it that way. Or you can see, like, it's not been delivered.
So you could just pull up on them like, you stole my fucking package.
Yeah, just like, how dare you? I've been tracking you this whole time. So that would be a huge market. I would imagine that the company would be willing to invest in that just to keep the consumer happy, because there are so many, like around Christmas time, package thieves are a huge problem. And the ring front door thing can only do so much to stop them. You can see maybe on
It doesn't really prevent them. It's not a deterrent.
Right.
It's just more so going to catch the evidence.
Right.
And then maybe you can use that. You really can't unless you get a license plate.
So this would be the next level of tracking down where they are.
And then correlating that with the footage.
Right.
You got a case there.
Especially if they don't know that it's in there. I think once if it became a popular thing, they might start pulling them out and throwing them away.
Or it'll work as a deterrent. It'll be like, oh, okay, you know those Amazon packages that got that tracker thing in them. Don't even fuck with those.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll stop people from stealing them, hopefully.
So yeah, the altcoins are very interesting. The idea of tokenizing services is really fascinating. I think one of the interesting things for me is that you have your own business.
Yes.
You have Generation Architect, where you structure your knowledge that you've gained to help other people grow their business and take the entrepreneurial path that you have chosen.
And to kind of build a full picture here, Mendy and I would consider ourselves entrepreneurs, and we work on several different ventures. And I believe that our overall goal is to really just build prosperity, generational wealth, and try to help multiple communities so that there's not such this imbalance in Western society where there's the elite and then there's the rest of us. And I think that would be a really good place to get to. Now, with that said, there's a couple paths that we're trying to take to get there, one of them being Generation Architect. And that is a company that I've developed which is focused on the actualization of all individuals that are interested in actualizing themselves. So that begins with, something as simple as a course on how to prepare for an interview, so that you can get a good job, so that you can wake up, feel motivated, and feel like you have purpose, and you can use the funds that you accumulate from your job to save up or to invest in something like cryptocurrency, start a business of your own. And so Generation Architect, I really want to provide those opportunities for people through that company. The next thing I have coming up, I'm working on a book right now called Think Crypto. And that's going to really be a beginner's guide into investing in cryptocurrency. It's going to let you know, what cryptocurrencies are out there, how you can invest, what kind of exchanges are out there, what kind of digital wallets are out there, the drawbacks to each. And I think through this book, you'll be able to find out a strategy that's best for you and really dive into cryptocurrency and find some success.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make moves like that too, to generate these realities that we perceive to be what's best for the people around us because it's been what's best for us in practice. So, a little side note on what Christian and I do for daily work. We actually travel around and repair the electric shopping carts in grocery stores.
And grocery stores, the little disabled carts.
Yeah, so those vary in types. There's all different brands of them, so there's different makes and models. And after working together for most of this year, we've been developing somewhat of a training program so that we can kind of take our business to the next level in teaching other people in other areas how to do what we've been doing to service the disabled community, because it's really an overlooked commodity. A lot of times there will be more than half of the carts out of service, or people waiting in line for another mobility cart because they can't walk around the store, or the carts that they do have are unsafe. So there are a lot of variables that go into what we do every day to try to generate new ideas on how to help people come together or live their best life, or to be, just safe when they're at the grocery store, or have the best ideas of what to do to move themselves forward to be where they want to be.
Yeah, we just want to really kind of help keep people mobile. We want to help keep people empowered and feeling like they are the best version of themselves they can be. And whether they're walking or not shouldn't impact how they feel. I feel like.
Or their quality of life even.
Right.
So we also install vehicle lifts for people who utilize mobility equipment to get around all the time, so that they can take their equipment with them whenever they're going to the grocery store, for instance. So some people are able to take their scooter with them whenever they go out to eat, or not have someone push them around. It allows a lot of freedom and just individuality, being that independent again. It makes
maintaining your independence, I think, goes a long way.
Right, and it does a lot for people's self-esteem to know that they don't need somebody else to go with them to get this done.
And to go back to cryptocurrency, Mendy had also brought up the idea of potentially developing something like an auto coin or a lift coin,
right?
Where you can utilize how much money you've put into vehicle lifts, how much money you've put into disability equipment for yourself or for a loved one, and utilize that in the disabled space, that industry, to purchase more equipment or to purchase repairs.
Kind of sidestepping an insurance company, where it's like this token for these services would be provided to you because you need them. It's not necessarily like saying, we're going to give you money to go buy new clothes or anything like that.
But you can build up your own worth in a way. You can, so instead of having an insurance company where you send in a claim and they're like, maybe we'll pay it, maybe we won't. You can build up your own worth in an account for something, and it'll be saved specifically for, for instance, disability purchases. So those coins will build up. Every time you make a purchase, you get like 5% back in that coin. And it builds up. And the next thing you know, oh, wow, my vehicle lift stopped working. I need 2 new batteries. They're $250, but they're only 4 disabled coins or auto coins. And you use those tokens, and it bypasses the insurance company.
And then the service providers are able to utilize those for themselves as well. So it's like the exchange becomes more beneficial for the provider themselves, as opposed to...
It can become an entire marketplace at that point. Because the
instead
provider can purchase new wheelchairs to sell, all using those coins. Purchase with the coins, sell with the coins,
Yeah, there's definitely a huge gap in the service industry because the insurance companies take the major profits. So that's kind of what we just take care of in our day-to-day work, is mobility equipment. But our other passions lie in, obviously, cryptocurrency. We're also big into I'm very interested in holistic nutrition, healing with plants.
Yes, Mendy's our home doctor.
Right, trying to
She keeps us all alive.
avoid going to a conventional doctor and utilizing any and all holistic practices, and potentially going to start a podcast with the offshoot of that focus.
Which I think is a great idea.
Just kind of focusing on maybe interviewing local individuals who are also on the same level of understanding about the benefits of holistic healing for, I would say, cancer treatment. That's one of my very most interests, and although I don't have experience with hands-on cancer treatment holistically, there are people in this area who do, so that would be really great to
Just
integrate
building
their
that
knowledge.
community.
Yeah.
Sit down and watch the Gerson therapy with a couple people. It'd be really cool. But we're going to wrap this up. Again, this is our first episode, so please like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
We've shared some things with you today. If you got any questions, go ahead and comment those.
Yeah, we're going to make a Crypto Observers Facebook page, and then we're going to try to have like somewhat of a forums there for people to communicate through.
Yeah, so go ahead, look us up on Facebook, Crypto Observers. Look us up on YouTube. Like all those pages. We'll be putting out plenty of content for you guys here real soon. Again, if there's anything that you heard today you're a little more curious about, leave some comments, and we'll touch on those topics in future podcasts.
And maybe email if you have any questions or comments.
Yeah, get in touch with us. We want to hear from you guys and get this community built. You can reach me at workethicnow@gmail.com.
Okay.
That will likely change in the future, so if you're listening to later episodes, there's probably an updated email address.
Yeah. So.
But thanks for listening to Crypto Observers.
Yeah, definitely interested in your feedback, and we're here to answer your questions. Thanks again for listening all the way to the end. Hope you guys have a magical day.